Hey, what's up everyone, Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be going over the top 5 ways to avoid injuries, and we're going to start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab.
Reach your individual goals.
You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video.
Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become.
All right, so this is something that I work a lot with, is really being able to help people in not only preventing injuries, but also by being able to recover injuries. There was a time where I was going more into like a physical therapy type of route and really learned a lot more about the body and how you can train it to be able to prevent injuries moving forward. And the first thing I think, and these are not in a particular order, these I think all end up mattering a lot, but this is something that I see over and over again, is at the end of the day, you got to have the correct biomechanics, and there's so much that goes into that, whether you're not properly decelerating within your foot or your ankle, or not stabilizing correctly within the knees, within the shoulders. There's so many, or even the elbows. Like, all those things end up making a big difference. And a lot of times when you have definitely when you have a big injury, a big soft tissue injury, there's something that's going on biomechanically that either caused that, or you're going to end up suffering from, that's going to end up making it so you have injuries, more injuries in the past. The best predictor of somebody that's going to be at risk for injury is, have they had past injuries, right? So if you have like a right ankle issue, the likelihood of you having then a right knee problem or another right ankle issue, goes up significantly. And so you really want to understand how your body should be moving and what are some of the things that cause you to have a injury in the first place, right? So really going into your biomechanics, making sure you don't have any big asymmetries from one side to the other, making sure that you're pushing off, similarly from one side to the other, decelerating well on one side compared to the other, very, very similarly on both, because when you end up having, again, one side that is maybe really good at pushing off, the other side that isn't, that creates a long sustained pattern of not being able to move correctly, which over the course of 5 years, 10 years, whatever, will lead itself to injuries. And it's not like can, it's like it will. Like, you want to be able to make sure that you have a great understanding of how to utilize the body, and that's why we put a big focus on the mechanics when it comes to running, throwing, jumping, walking even, because all that really matters a lot. Next thing is going to be a proper warm-up, proper cool-down. So I think that ends up being a big thing for, when somebody ends up having like groin pulls or hamstring pulls or something like that. It's just not properly warming up, properly cooling down. The older you get, the more important that ends up becoming. And, you really want to have something that is pretty consistent, right? Something that you're doing like every time you go and work out, you have like a certain warm-up that you do, or at least have some type of rhythm to how you get yourself warmed up and get yourself ready for any type of performance. So, the more you can make that something that is consistent, I think the better off you're going to be, instead of it being, super random and really not having too much, consistency with it. The next one's going to be working on acceleration and deceleration, and really working that in both the concentric, which is like the contraction part of the muscle, as well as the eccentric, which is controlling the lengthening of the muscle, and doing that in a wide degree of ranges of motion, right? So you want to be able to, like, there's a lot going on right now with like sprinting and being able to work on the muscles that slow you down. So running backwards, right? So not only are you working on accelerating and running forwards, but you're also working on your ability to move backwards. Same type of thing with throwing. There's a lot of throw programs that incorporate throwing backwards, right? With pitchers, you throw in front and then you also throw behind. And so, that ends up being a really important part of understanding the way to be able to stay healthy and avoid injuries. Is you have to be able to accelerate great, right? Like, you have to be able to create a lot of force. You have to be able to jump high. You got to be able to run fast. You got to be able to, move your arm very quickly. But you also have to understand that you need to train the deceleration part of that, right? So you have to be able to train the muscles that are going to slow down your arm as you're throwing. You have to be able to train the muscles that are going to slow down your body when you're running fast, and that will just make it so you're more in balance, right? So if you're only working on the muscles that are making you run fast, then you're not going to be able to have the same sustainability as if you train both the muscles that help you run fast and the muscles that help you, slow down or run backwards fast. So, and it's a great way to be able to incorporate some degree of rest as well. Like, you're always working on your acceleration, then, your muscles are going to get more fatigued, more overworked, things like that. But if you're working on both sides of the muscles and being able to understand full range of motion, understand, utilizing explosive power, being able to isometrically contract, concentrically contract, eccentrically contract. There's so many different ways that you can work the muscles and so many different types of training that you can do. There's really something that you could be doing on a constant basis. You just have to have the knowledge in order to make that happen. And that's really what we're trying to provide here with the Performance Lab of California YouTube channel and also all of our programs. Number 4 is going to be proper nutrition. I think that ends up being a big thing, and also hydration. I've worked with a good amount of people that, something happens, working out, we're training or whatever, all of a sudden they start cramping or not feeling well or this or that, or, even muscles are starting to tighten up on them. A lot of times it ends up being nutrition, right? And I think I was very, very blessed with that. And, my dad is big into nutrition. And so always growing up, I always had very healthy meals. I really took care of my body a lot. And I think that really set me up to perform well when it came to really any type of athletic endeavor. Because I was always eating such a great diet that, I never really had injuries. I never really had to deal with a lot of those types of problems, and I think a lot of it had to do with what I was putting into my body, and also the different types of sports that I was always doing. I wasn't always stuck to one sport. I was doing a wide variety of different sports, which ended up being important as well. And then the last one is going to be a consistent training program, and the reason that's important is because you have to, if you're going to go and work out 2-3 times and it's really high intensity and it's really difficult and there's a lot of weights and a lot of resistance and you're working out for 2-3 hours, you're going to have a higher likelihood of having some type of injury that way because of just the pure volume and the use that you're asking out of your body in comparison to, keeping something more consistent. I try to work out, 7 to 8 times a week, maybe even 9. And the way that I'm able to do that is I just don't go, I can't really because of my work and everything, but, I'll do an hour and a half every day, different types of exercise, but I just keep it consistent. Some days I push more, sometimes I push less, sometimes I do more, speed and power, sometimes I do more strength and, resistance, sometimes I do more stretching, more yoga. It just depends, it varies, and that makes it so, my muscles in my body is constantly adapting and building, and my muscles are always ready for performance. You have to be able to obviously build yourself up to be able to, work out as consistently as I am. But again, that goes into how you want to build yourself up and how you want to be on a consistent program. If you go from, 0 to 100, like right now, a lot of people are doing that because it's January and they want to start losing weight in 2022. The likelihood of you all of a sudden having knee pain, elbow pain, shoulder pain, back pain, whatever, goes up because you weren't used to that type of load. All of a sudden you go and you have this giant spike and your body's not ready for it. So, you want to have something that is more consistent and rather than being too ups and downs, because that ends up causing, more likelihood for injuries. So as always, guys, I hope you liked the information. If you have any questions, go ahead and click that thumbs up down below, subscribe to the channel. If you have any, comments or recommendations for videos or anything like that, you can leave those down below as well. And check out some of the programs. That's always, we want to be able to help you guys out, jump higher, run faster, throw the ball better. That's really the big focus that we're putting on here with the Performance Lab of California. And, we have a lot of valuable programs to be able to help you guys out. And I think a lot of valuable information. So, if you're ready to commit to yourself, ready to get some great goals and accomplish some great things in 2022, we'd be happy to help you out. And we have all the things necessary to be able to do that down below. So again, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.